I never planned on becoming wealthy. Growing up in a modest household where my mother counted every penny taught me the value of hard work and independence. But sitting here at my in-laws' mahogany dining table, watching my mother-in-law Vienna wave her diamond-studded hands while dismissing my career choices, I realize that sometimes the best revenge is simply waiting for the perfect moment. My name is Eleanor, and I'm what most people would call a part-time teacher. At least that's what my mother-in-law loves to remind everyone at these weekly family dinners. Really, Eleanor dear, Vienna says, dabbing her mouth with an embroidered napkin, I don't understand why you insist on working those measly hours at that public school, when Curtis makes enough to support you both. I catch my husband's eye across the table, but he quickly looks down at his plate. Typical Curtis, always avoiding confrontation. I enjoy teaching, I reply simply, taking a sip of wine. What I don't mention is the educational technology platform I built from scratch 5 years ago, now valued at 8 figures. Or the fact that those measly hours at school provide me with insights that keep my business innovative and growing. Well, Vienna continues, her voice dripping with false sweetness, we've been planning this wonderful family vacation to the Maldives. 3 weeks at a private resort. Judah's already made all the arrangements, haven't you, dear? My father-in-law nods, barely looking up from his phone. All set for next month. Curtis will handle your portion of the expenses, of course, Vienna adds, shooting me a look that clearly suggests I couldn't possibly contribute. I feel my phone buzz in my pocket. Probably Madeline, my best friend and business partner, with updates about our latest expansion plans. But I keep my attention on the scene unfolding before me. That's quite generous, I say, watching Curtis shift uncomfortably in his chair. How much are we talking about? Oh, just 30,000 per couple, Vienna waves her hand dismissively. A bargain, really, for what we're getting. Curtis already agreed it wouldn't be a problem. I nearly choke on my wine. Not because of the amount, that's pocket change compared to what my company brings in monthly, but because my dear husband hadn't bothered to mention this to me. Curtis? I turn to him, keeping my voice steady. When did you agree to this? He tugs at his collar, a nervous habit I've come to recognize all too well. Mom mentioned it last week. I thought, well, we could make it work. Make it work, Vienna laughs. Don't be modest, Curtis. You're doing wonderfully at the firm, and it's not like Eleanor's teacher's salary would have contributed much anyway. Sylvia, Curtis's sister, speaks up for the first time. Mum, that's a bit harsh. It's just the truth, Vienna insists. Someone needs to say it. Eleanor could be doing so much more with her life instead of playing teacher part-time. I feel a smile tugging at my lips, but I suppress it. If they only knew about the meeting I had yesterday with potential investors, or the Forbes interview scheduled for next month. You're right, Vienna, I say softly, watching surprise flash across her face. Someone does need to say the truth. Curtis looks up sharply, probably expecting me to spill everything. But I've learned that timing is everything, both in business and in life. The truth is, I continue, I need to excuse myself. I have some lesson plans to prepare for tomorrow. As I stand, Vienna's triumphant smirk tells me everything I need to know about what she thinks of me. Let her believe what she wants. Let them all believe what they want. Walking to my car, I finally check my phone. 3 messages from Madeline. Deal is done. They're offering double what we asked. Call me ASAP. This is huge. I start my car, thinking about Curtis and his family's vacation plans, about the joint account he has access to, which I've deliberately kept modest, about the separate account where I store the real fruits of my labor. My phone rings. It's Madeline again. I answer on Bluetooth as I pull out of the driveway. Eleanor, where have you been? This is going to change everything. I laugh, feeling lighter than I have all evening. Actually, Mad, I think everything's about to change anyway. Meet me for coffee. I have a story you won't believe. As I drive away from my in-laws' house, I can't help but think about how sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch out for. And sometimes The best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about revealing who you've been all along. The notification from my banking app came while I was grading papers at my favorite coffee shop. My hands trembled as I read it. Withdrawal, $65,000. Transaction approved. I immediately called Curtis. "Hey, honey," he answered, his voice artificially cheerful. "I was just about to call you." "Were you?" I cut him off. "Before or after you emptied our joint account?" The silence on the other end spoke volumes. "Mom said it would be better to handle it quickly," he finally mumbled. "You know, to secure the reservations and—" "Stop." My voice was quiet but firm. "Just stop, Curtis. You didn't even discuss this with me." "Well, you were on board at dinner the other night." I caught Madeline's eye as she walked into the coffee shop, right on time for our meeting. Her smile faded when she saw my expression. "Being polite to your mother is not the same as agreeing to spend our savings on her vacation fantasy," I said, gesturing for Madeline to sit down. "We'll discuss this later." I hung up before he could respond. Madeline slid into the chair across from me, concern etched on her face. "Spill it," she demanded, pushing my half-finished coffee aside and replacing it with a fresh one. "What did that spineless husband of yours do now?" I showed her my phone screen with the withdrawal notification. Her eyes widened. "He didn't." "He did." I took a sip of the fresh coffee. "And you know what the worst part is? He didn't even try to hide it. He just assumed I'd go along with it." "Like you always do," Madeline pointed out, then quickly raised her hands in surrender when I glared at her. "Hey, I'm just saying what we both know. You've let them believe you're this passive, struggling teacher for years. It protected my business," I defended. "You know how Vienna is. If she knew about the company, she'd try to sink her claws into it faster than she booked that vacation," Madeline finished. "I know. But Elle, maybe it's time." My phone buzzed again, a message from Emery, my tech assistant. "Major tech blog wants to feature our adaptive learning algorithm. Time-sensitive. Call ASAP." "The universe has interesting timing," I murmured, showing Madeline the message. She leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with that look I knew meant trouble. "You know what would be poetic justice? Let them take their fancy vacation. Let them spend your joint savings thinking they're living large. Meanwhile..." "Meanwhile what?" "Meanwhile, we accept that Forbes interview we've been putting off. Time it perfectly with their return." She grinned. "Imagine Vienna's face when she sees your net worth splashed across national media." I should have felt bad about even considering it. But all I could think about was Curtis, withdrawing our savings without a word, Vienna's constant condescension, and years of being treated like I was somehow less than them. My phone rang again. Curtis. "Eleanor, Mum wants to know if you prefer the ocean villa or the beach villa," he said, as if the previous conversation hadn't happened. "You know what? Surprise me," I replied coldly. "Since you're so good at making decisions without consulting me anyway." "Don't be like that," he pleaded. Mom says, Mom wants, Mom thinks," I interrupted. "When was the last time you asked what I want, Curtis?" Another silence. "I'll be home late," I said finally. "Don't wait up." After hanging up, I turned to Madeline. "Make the call to Forbes. It's time." She was already pulling out her laptop. "And the tech blog? Tell Emery to set it up. We'll do both." I felt a strange calm settle over me. If they want to play with money, let's play. "Eleanor," Madeline said seriously, pausing her typing, "once we do this, there's no going back. Your in-laws, Curtis. Everything will change." I thought about the countless family dinners where I sat quietly while Vienna belittled my choices. About Curtis's constant deferrals to his mother's wishes. About the $65,000 that disappeared from our account without so much as a discussion. "Good," I said firmly. "Everything needs to change." As Madeline made the calls, I opened my private banking app, the one containing my real wealth, and smiled at the balance. Let them enjoy their vacation. Let them feel powerful with their stolen $65,000. They had no idea what was coming. Forbes is in, Madeline announced. They want to run the story next month. Perfect timing, I said, finishing my coffee. That's right, when they'll be returning from paradise. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about choosing the perfect moment to show your cards. And my hand? It was about to blow their minds. You're being awfully understanding about all this, Curtis said suspiciously as I helped him pack his suitcase. 2 weeks had passed since the bank account incident, and I'd maintained a carefully crafted facade of acceptance. What choice do I have? I smiled sweetly, folding one of his expensive shirts. The money's already spent. He paused, holding a pair of swim trunks. I know I should have discussed it with you first. Water under the bridge, I said, waving dismissively. Besides, you deserve this vacation. You work so hard. My phone buzzed on the dresser. Another message from Emery. Photographer confirmed for Forbes shoot tomorrow. Studio booked. Work? Curtis asked, eyeing my phone. Just school stuff, I lied smoothly. End of semester grades. The doorbell rang, saving me from further questions. Vienna's voice echoed through the house moments later. Curtis, Eleanor, are you ready? The car service is waiting. I watched Curtis's whole demeanor change, straightening his shoulders like a puppet on strings at his mother's voice. It would have been sad if it wasn't so infuriating. Coming, Mom, he called out, then turned to me. Are you sure you'll be okay here alone for 3 weeks? I'll manage, I said, thinking of my packed schedule of interviews, photo shoots, and final preparations for our company's biggest product launch to date. Don't worry about me. Vienna appeared in our bedroom doorway, immaculate in her designer travel outfit. Curtis, darling, we need to... Oh, Eleanor. Still in your teaching clothes, I see. I glanced down at my simple blouse and skirt. Just came from school. She pursed her lips. Well, Curtis, we really must go. The private car is charging by the hour. Of course, Mum. He grabbed his suitcase and gave me a quick peck on the cheek. I'll call when we land. Have fun, I called after them, following them downstairs. Spend lots of money. Vienna paused at the front door, turning to me with that condescending smile I'd grown to hate. Now, Eleanor, don't be bitter. Perhaps next time you can save up enough from your teaching to join us. I bit back a laugh. The watch on her wrist probably cost less than what my company made in an hour. You're right, Vienna. Maybe next time. After they left, I immediately called Madeline. They're gone, I said as soon as she answered. Operation Karma is officially a go. Perfect timing. I'm with the Forbes team now. They're loving the angle. Female entrepreneur revolutionizing education technology while maintaining her classroom roots. They want to make it a cover story. I sank into my favorite armchair, the one Vienna always criticized for being too modern for our decor. A cover story? That wasn't the plan. Plans change, Madeline said excitedly, especially when they find out your net worth and the impact your platform is having globally. This is bigger than getting back at your in-laws. This could take the company to the next level. My phone beeped, another call coming in. It was Sylvia, Curtis's sister. Mad, I have to go. Curtis's sister is calling. The nice one? Yeah, the nice one. I switched calls. Sylvia? Eleanor? She sounded hesitant. I wanted to apologize for Mum's behavior, about the vacation and everything. You don't have to apologize for her. I know, but... She paused. Something feels off about all this. The way you just accepted everything. It's not like you. I smiled. Sylvia had always been more perceptive than the rest of her family. Maybe I'm just tired of fighting, I said carefully. Or maybe you're planning something, she replied. Look, I know my mother can be horrible. And Curtis... Well, Curtis needs to grow a spine. Whatever you're planning, I want you to know I'm on your side. For a moment, I considered telling her everything, but the fewer people who knew, the better. Thanks, Sylvia. That means a lot. After hanging up, I opened my laptop to review the Forbes interview questions. My phone buzzed again, a message from Curtis with a photo of them boarding their first-class flight. Missing you already, his text read. I closed the message without responding and opened my email instead. The subject line from our PR team read, Forbes cover story draft, the secret billionaire teacher. Perfect. Let them enjoy their expensive resort. Let them post their luxury vacation photos. Let them think they've won with their stolen $65,000. In 3 weeks, they'd return to find out what real wealth looks like. And more importantly, they'd learn what happens when you underestimate the quiet one in the room. I picked up my phone one last time to text Madeline. Tell Forbes I'm ready for my close-up. Smile. The photographer adjusted his camera while I sat at my classroom desk, surrounded by student artwork and motivation posters. Perfect. Now let's get some shots of you actually teaching. The Forbes photo shoot was in full swing, and my students were loving every minute of it. I told them it was for an educational magazine feature. Technically, not a lie. My phone buzzed with another Instagram notification. Curtis had posted another photo from their vacation, this time of Vienna lounging on a private beach, caption reading, Living our best life, has our blessed assured luxury travel. Eleanor? The photographer waved his hand. We lost you for a moment there. Sorry, I smiled, putting my phone away. Let's continue. After school, I met Madeline and Emery at our company headquarters, a sleek office building that none of my in-laws had ever seen. The Forbes journalist, Sarah, was waiting in the conference room. Mrs. Owens, she began. Eleanor, please. Eleanor, she corrected, your story is fascinating. Building a billion-dollar ed-tech company while continuing to teach part-time. What drove that decision? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Curtis. Excuse me, I said, stepping out. Hey, Eleanor, you'll never believe what Mom just did. Curtis sounded excited. She convinced the resort to upgrade us to their royal suite. It's costing an extra $20,000, but... $20,000? I interrupted. Curtis, that's... Don't worry about the money, he said dismissively. Mom says we deserve it. Oh, and we're extending the trip another week. The resort had a cancellation. I gripped my phone tighter. Another week? With whose money? Mom's covering it, he said quickly. Well, technically Dad is. Anyway, got to go. We're having dinner with some resort owners. Love you. He hung up before I could respond. I walked back into the conference room where Sarah was reviewing her notes. Everything okay? Madeline asked, noticing my expression. They're extending their vacation, I said flatly, and upgraded to the royal suite. Emery whistled. Perfect timing, boss. Our new platform launch next week will probably pay for their entire vacation in about 3 hours. Sarah's eyes widened. Mind if I include that detail in the article? Include everything, I said, sitting down. It's time for the whole story to come out. The interview lasted hours. We covered everything, from building the company from scratch to keeping it hidden from my in-laws. Sarah was particularly interested in the current situation. So your husband has no idea he's married to a billionaire? None, I confirmed. He's currently spending what he thinks is our life savings on a luxury vacation with his parents. While you're here revolutionizing education technology, Sarah shook her head. This is going to be one hell of a story. After the interview, Madeline insisted we celebrate at our favorite restaurant. The private dining room was already set up when we arrived. To Eleanor, Madeline raised her glass. The most patient woman I know, and the best revenge planner. It's not about revenge, I protested, but couldn't help smiling. It's about justice, Emery finished. Speaking of which, have you seen their latest Instagram posts? He pulled up Vienna's account on his tablet. There she was, posing in front of a sunset, caption reading, Some people work for luxury, others were born for it. Born for it? Madeline scoffed. Wait until she sees your net worth on the cover of Forbes. My phone buzzed again. A text from Sylvia. Mum's going overboard with the spending. Curtis looks worried but won't say anything. Are you sure you're okay with all this? I typed back, trust me, everything's going exactly as planned. The magazine hit stands the day they return? Emery asked. I nodded. And the digital version goes live that morning. I've already arranged for a copy to be delivered to their house. You really have thought of everything, Sarah said, having joined us for dinner. Any regrets about going public like this? I thought about Curtis, so easily manipulated by his mother, about Vienna's constant belittling, about their current spending spree with money they thought would hurt me. No regrets, I said firmly. Sometimes people need a wake-up call. Well, Madeline raised her glass again. Here's to wake-up calls. And to watching karma do its thing. As we toasted, my phone lit up with another vacation photo. This time, it was Curtis, Vienna, and Judah in their new royal suite, champagne glasses in hand. Little did they know, their champagne toast was nothing compared to what we were celebrating. In 1 week, their borrowed luxury would meet my real wealth, and their perfect vacation would end with a reality check none of them saw coming. I smiled and turned my phone face down. Let them enjoy their last few days of blissful ignorance. The truth was worth waiting for. The sound of their car pulling into the driveway made me look up from my laptop, right on schedule. I'd been working from home today, waiting for this moment. The Forbes magazine lay on the doorstep, exactly where the delivery person had placed it an hour ago. "Eleanor?" Curtis called out as he opened the front door. "Oh." I heard the rustling of him picking up the magazine, followed by a sharp intake of breath. "Mom," his voice cracked, "you need to see this." I stood up, smoothing down my dress, and walked to the foyer. Vienna was already snatching the magazine from Curtis's trembling hands. "What is it?" She stopped mid-sentence, her perfectly manicured fingers gripping the glossy cover where my photos smiled back at her. The headline read, "The Billion-Dollar Teacher, How Eleanor Owens Built an EdTech Empire from Her Classroom." "Welcome back," I said calmly. "How was the royal suite?" Vienna's face went from tan to pale in seconds. Judah, still struggling with the luggage at the door, hadn't noticed the tension yet. "This is some kind of joke," Vienna managed to say, flipping through the pages frantically. "Curtis, tell me this is a joke." Curtis just stood there, staring at me like he'd never seen me before. "Eleanor." "What is this?" "That," I said, taking the magazine from Vienna's shaking hands, "is the truth I've been keeping from you for 5 years. My company is worth just over $2 billion now. The vacation you just charged to our joint account. My platform makes that much in revenue every few hours." "But you're a teacher," Vienna sputtered. "I am a teacher," I confirmed. "I'm also a CEO, an entrepreneur, and your son's wife, though that last part is currently under review." The sound of heels clicking on the porch announced Sylvia's arrival. "Mum, you left your phone in the—" She stopped, taking in the scene. "Oh, they know now. You knew?" Vienna whirled on her daughter. "I figured it out," Sylvia shrugged, walking over to stand beside me. Unlike some people, I actually paid attention to Eleanor over the years. Curtis finally found his voice. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Would it have mattered?" I asked quietly. "Would it have stopped you from emptying our account without asking? Would it have made you stand up to your mother even once?" I didn't. Exactly. You didn't." I opened the magazine to the center spread, where photos of our company headquarters and success metrics were displayed. "While you were spending what you thought was our life savings, I was finalizing a deal that will put our educational software in schools across 3 continents. Vienna grabbed Curtis's arm. "Darling, surely we can—" "No, Mom," Curtis cut her off, surprising everyone. "Not this time." "I've had my lawyer draw up some papers," I continued, walking to my desk and returning with a folder. "You have a choice to make, Curtis. Either we begin marriage counseling and you start making your own decisions, or you sign these divorce papers and walk away with exactly what you thought I was worth, nothing." "This is preposterous," Vienna exploded. "Curtis, you can't possibly—" "Mom!" Curtis's shout echoed through the foyer. "For once in my life, please be quiet." Judah, who had been silent until now, placed a hand on his wife's shoulder. "Vienna, I think we should go." "But—" "Now." His tone left no room for argument. As they left, Sylvia lingered. "For what it's worth," she said, "I'm proud of you, Eleanor." Someone needed to shake things up. After she left, Curtis and I stood in silence, the magazine between us on the coffee table. 4 years, he finally said. 4 years of watching Mum treat you like you were beneath us, and you were worth more than our entire family combined. It was never about the money, I replied. It was about respect, about partnership, about having a husband who would stand by me instead of standing behind his mother. He picked up the folder with the papers. "And these are my only options." "Those are your options if you want to stay married to me," I said firmly. "I'm done being invisible, Curtis. I'm done being the quiet, accommodating wife. The question is, are you ready to be a real husband?" He opened the folder, staring at the papers inside. "The counseling. When would it start?" "That depends." I picked up my phone, showing him the screen with the counselor's contact information. "On whether you're ready to make your first independent decision as an adult." The ball was in his court now. After 4 years of hiding and 3 weeks of plotting, I'd finally played my hand. Now it was time to see if Curtis could play his. The first marriage counseling session was exactly as uncomfortable as I expected. Curtis sat rigid on one end of the couch while I occupied the other, the space between us speaking volumes. "So," Dr. Martinez began, "let's talk about what brought you here today." Before either of us could respond, my phone buzzed. Another hysterical message from Vienna. I silenced it without reading. "That's part of the problem right there," Curtis said, pointing at my phone. "Mum's called me 37 times since yesterday. She's convinced Eleanor planned this whole thing to humiliate our family." "Didn't you?" he added, turning to me. "No, Curtis. I planned it to make you see the truth." I faced Dr. Martinez. My husband emptied our joint account to take his parents on a luxury vacation, without discussing it with me. "Because I thought we needed the money," Curtis exploded. "How was I supposed to know my wife was secretly a billionaire?" "That's not the point," I shot back. "You shouldn't empty joint accounts whether your wife makes minimum wage or runs a Fortune 500 company." Dr. Martinez held up her hand. "Curtis, why did you feel you couldn't discuss this with Eleanor?" He deflated slightly. "Mum said... She said Eleanor wouldn't understand, that she'd try to stop us because she's always been financially conservative." "You mean poor?" I translated. "That's what Vienna always implied, right?" Before Curtis could respond, the door burst open. Vienna stood there, face flushed. "Mom?" Curtis jumped up. "How did you—" "Your secretary told me where to find you," she said, glaring at me. "I won't let you manipulate my son like this." Dr. Martinez stood. "Ma'am, this is a private session." "Private?" Vienna laughed shrilly. Like how she privately built an empire while pretending to be a humble teacher. Like how she humiliated us in front of everyone. "I didn't pretend anything," I said calmly. "I am a teacher. I'm also successful. The only humiliation came from your own assumptions." "Mom, you need to leave," Curtis said quietly. Vienna froze. "What?" "Leave. Now." His voice grew stronger. "This is between me and my wife." "Curtis, darling, you can't possibly—" "I said leave," he shouted, making everyone jump. "For once in my life, let me handle something without you interfering." Vienna staggered back as if she'd been slapped. I only ever wanted what's best for you." "No." Curtis shook his head. "You wanted what's best for you. What looked best for you. What felt best for you. Eleanor was right. I need to make my own decisions." After Vienna left, Dr. Martinez cleared her throat. "Well, that was unexpected, but possibly breakthrough material. Curtis, how do you feel?" He sat back down, closer to me this time. "Terrified, relieved, like I can finally breathe." "Eleanor," Dr. Martinez turned to me. "Your thoughts." "I'm proud of him," I said honestly. "That's the man I married. He just got lost somewhere along the way." My phone buzzed again. This time, a message from Sylvia. "Mum's having a meltdown. Dad's trying to calm her down. Also, I just read the full Forbes article. You're amazing. Can I see your phone? Curtis asked suddenly. I handed it to him, watching as he blocked his mother's number. Then he took out his own phone and did the same. I need space, he explained. From her, from all of it. I need to figure out who I am without her voice in my head. Dr. Martinez nodded approvingly. That's very insightful, Curtis. Eleanor, how do you feel about that? I think it's a start, I said, but we have a lot to work through. Trust to rebuild. I know, Curtis reached for my hand. I also know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking for one anyway. Why should I give you one? Because I love you, he said simply. Not your money, not your success, though I'm incredibly proud of you. I love the woman who grades papers until midnight, who lights up when her students understand a concept, who built something amazing while staying true to herself. I just forgot to show it. Dr. Martinez smiled. This is good progress, but Curtis is right. There's a lot of work ahead. Are you both committed to this? I looked at Curtis, really looked at him. The man who'd just stood up to his mother for the first time in his life. The man who was finally choosing me. Yes, I said, but on one condition. Anything. No more secrets from either of us. He squeezed my hand. Deal. As we left the session, my phone buzzed with another message, this time from Madeline. How'd it go? I looked at Curtis, who was already calling his father to explain his decision about Vienna. It's a start, I typed back. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's watching someone finally stand up for themselves. And for the first time in weeks, I felt genuinely hopeful about our future. 3 weeks after our first counseling session, Curtis asked to see my office. The real one, not the classroom where I taught part-time. I agreed, but with one condition. We'd have dinner with his parents first. Are you sure about this? Curtis asked, as we pulled up to the restaurant. They're your parents, I said. We need to deal with this properly. Vienna and Judah were already seated when we arrived. Vienna's usual designer outfit looked slightly wrinkled, her makeup not quite as perfect as usual. Curtis, she started immediately. You haven't answered any of my calls. Mom, he interrupted, pulling out my chair. We're here to talk. Actually talk. Can you do that? She pressed her lips together but nodded. First, I said, opening my bag, I want to return this. I placed an envelope on the table. It's a check for $85,000, covering the vacation expenses and the royal suite upgrade. We don't need your charity, Vienna snapped. It's not charity, Curtis said firmly. It's returning money that was taken without permission. Accept it, Mom. Judah reached for the envelope. We'll take it. Thank you, Eleanor. Now, I continued, let's address the real issue. Vienna, you've never respected me or my choices. Because you deceived us, she burst out, all these years pretending to be... I never pretended anything, I cut in. You assumed, you judged. You decided I wasn't good enough for your son because I chose to teach. Did it ever occur to you that I might have other dimensions to my life? The waiter arrived with water, sensing the tension and quickly retreating. Mom, Curtis leaned forward. Eleanor built something incredible while staying true to her passion for teaching. Instead of being proud to have such a daughter-in-law, you're angry because she didn't fit into your narrow view of success. Vienna's hand trembled as she reached for her water. I only wanted... What you wanted, Judah spoke up, surprising everyone. Not what Curtis wanted, not what was best for his marriage. Judah, Vienna gasped. He's right, Curtis said. And I let you do it. I let you manipulate and control everything because it was easier than standing up to you. That stops now. I pulled out another envelope. These are boundaries we need you to respect if you want to be part of our lives going forward. They're non-negotiable. Vienna stared at the envelope like it might bite her. Boundaries? Yes, Curtis said, like not showing up uninvited to our counseling sessions, not making decisions about our money or our time without consulting us, not dismissing Eleanor's career choices. And if we don't agree, Vienna challenged. Then you don't see us, Curtis said simply. Your choice. The waiter returned nervously. Are you ready to order? Actually, Vienna stood up abruptly. I've lost my appetite. Mum, no, Curtis. I need time to process all this. Judah remained seated. I'll stay. We need to fix this, Vienna. All of us. She stared at him in betrayal before walking out. I'm sorry, Judah said after she left. She's not handling the loss of control well. Is she ever? Curtis muttered. We ordered dinner, and the conversation gradually became less tense. Judah asked genuine questions about my company, expressing real interest in how it worked. You know, he said near the end of dinner, I always wondered why such a bright young woman would just teach, as Vienna put it. Now I see you weren't just teaching, you were revolutionizing how teaching works. That's what I love about her, Curtis said, squeezing my hand. She never does anything halfway. After dinner, we drove to my office building. Curtis whistled as we entered the sleek lobby with its modern design and wall of awards. This is incredible, he said as I gave him the tour. All those late nights you said you were grading papers. Some of them I was, I smiled. Others I was here, building this. We ended up in my office, overlooking the city lights. I have something for you, I said, pulling out one final envelope. More boundaries? He asked. No, divorce papers. His face fell. But I thought, we were working things out. We are, I said, but I need you to understand something. These papers represent a choice. Your choice. Every day you can choose to be the man you've been becoming these past weeks. Strong, independent, supportive. Or you can choose to sign these and go back to being your mother's son. Curtis took the envelope but didn't open it. Instead, he tore it in half. I choose you, he said. Every day I choose you. I smiled, feeling tears prick my eyes. Good answer. Now, he grinned, want to show me how this education empire of yours actually works? For the first time in our marriage, I felt like I could truly share all of myself with my husband, and it felt absolutely right. The autumn breeze rustled through the courtyard as I wrapped up my outdoor class session. My students were presenting their projects when I noticed Curtis walking across the school grounds, carrying 2 coffee cups. Mrs. O, one of my students called out, is that your husband, the one from the magazine? I smiled, watching him approach. Yes, that's him. The one who didn't know you were super rich. Amanda, her friend elbowed her. Curtis reached us, handing me my coffee with a grin. The very same. Though in my defense, she's very good at keeping secrets. Not anymore, I said, taking a sip. Class dismissed. Remember, presentations continue tomorrow. As the students dispersed, Curtis sat beside me on the bench. Ready for dinner tonight? Are you? I asked. It would be our first dinner with his parents since Vienna had walked out of the restaurant 2 months ago. Mum's been doing better in therapy, he said. Dad says she's actually listening now. My phone buzzed, Madeline calling. Hey, Mad, you're on speaker. The acquisition offer just came in, she said excitedly. They're offering 3 times what we expected. Curtis squeezed my hand. Take it. You've worked too hard not to see this through. Look who's becoming a business expert, I teased. Well, I did marry one, he laughed, even if it took me 4 years to figure it out. Later that evening, we arrived at Sylvia's house for dinner. She'd offered to host on neutral ground, aware of how delicate things still were. Vienna opened the door, looking different, softer somehow. Eleanor, Curtis, please come in. The dining room was set beautifully, and Judah was already opening wine. Sylvia emerged from the kitchen with appetizers. Before we start, Vienna said, her voice unusually hesitant, I have something for you, Eleanor. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter and teaching supplies receipts. I donated to your old school district, she explained. Fully funded their teaching supplies for the year. I thought it might be a way to show I understand now. About the importance of education. About why you teach. Mom, Curtis breathed. Thank you. There's more, Judah added. Tell them, Vienna. Vienna twisted her napkin. I've been volunteering at the Literacy Center downtown, teaching adults to read. It's humbling and rewarding. I felt tears prick my eyes. That's wonderful, Vienna. I was wrong, she said quietly. About so many things. About you. About what success looks like. About what strength looks like. Sylvia raised her glass. To new beginnings? Actually, Curtis stood up. Before we toast, I have news too. He pulled out his phone, showing an email. I quit the firm today. What? I stared at him. I'm starting my own practice. Smaller, focused on helping educational startups with legal work. He smiled at me. Someone inspired me to follow my own path. Curtis, Vienna started, then stopped herself. She took a deep breath. That's wonderful, darling. Tell us more about your plans. As Curtis outlined his vision, I watched Vienna carefully controlling her natural instinct to take over. She was trying, really trying. Eleanor? Sylvia nudged me. You're being quiet. Just taking it all in, I said. A year ago, I was hiding my success to keep the peace. Now you're changing education globally, Judah raised his glass, while teaching my wife about humility and my son about courage. I'd say that's worth celebrating. To Eleanor, Curtis said, standing, who taught me that true strength isn't in what you hide, but in what you choose to reveal? To family, Vienna added softly, and learning to do better. My phone buzzed one final time, an email confirming the acquisition deal. I silenced it without checking. Some things could wait. Right now, watching Curtis beam with pride about his new venture, seeing Vienna genuinely try to change, feeling Sylvia's supportive presence, this was enough. I'd started this journey seeking revenge, but I'd found something better. Growth. Not just my own, but in everyone around me. Curtis had found his voice, Vienna her humility, and I'd found the freedom to be fully myself. To truth, I raised my glass, and to second chances. As we clinked glasses, I caught Curtis's eye and saw in it everything I needed to know. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's giving people the chance to become who they should have been all along. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's letting go of the need for revenge altogether.